Administrator for Lebanon County Children and Youth. With me here today is Kelly Demi. She is our Fiscal Operations Officer. And then we also have Audrey Fortna, who is the Director of Probation Services, and Sue Christner, who is the Deputy Director of Probation. So we're here today to present fiscal year 22-23 fourth quarter invoices, as well as our final report for fiscal year 22-23. Our implementation budget for the current fiscal year 23-24, our needs-based budget for fiscal year 24-25, and our contracts for fiscal year 23-24, current year.
Okay, would you like to just break these down one by one?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yep. So first I'll present our fourth quarter invoices for fiscal year 22-23. I ask that you approve the total amount of $2,014,554.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the fourth quarter invoices. Any questions regarding the motion? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Next, I'll present the fiscal year 22-23 final report. For fiscal year 22-23, we were certified at $11,128,782 with a county share of $2,270,781. We actually came in at $12,924,206, which is an over expenditure of $1,795,424. Our county share will be $2,843,325, which is an increase of $572,544 over the certified amount. Children and youth spent a total of $10,524,411 and was overspent in the amount of $2,062,260. And this was due to increases in in-home services being provided to children and families to coincide with the increase of referrals and open cases coming into our agency, but also to ensure safety of more difficult and complex cases that our agency is receiving and dealing with. Also, our agency is needing to place children in higher level placement facilities, which are more costly because there is a lack of foster home availability currently. Juvenile probation spent a total of $2,436,667 and was underspent by $274,890. Juvenile probation placements have consistently been declining since COVID-19 due to both the pandemic but also a decline in placement availability. We do plan to put through a budget amendment to the state for the over expenditure to request that the state provide their share to cover the over expenditure. I ask that you approve our 22-23 final report.
I'll make a motion to approve the 22-23 final report as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion, any further clarification from any of the other folks representing?
Thank you, sir.
You good? Okay. I will note, thank you for all the work that went into these reports. You know, it's a cumbersome and complicated world you live in, and not to mention the difficulty in the work that your folks are doing. So thank you for all that. Any questions beyond that or comments? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Next, I'll present our fiscal year 23-24, so our current fiscal year implementation budget. So our implementation budget for the current fiscal year 23-24, which was approved last year, is certified at $12,573,777 with a county share of $2,739,115. Our projected implementation budget is actually $13,810,327 due to children and youth increases in salary, increases in placements and in-home service costs, as well as an increase in in-home services due to our previous year over expenditure in that service category, so we're already anticipating that being higher going into the current year. Our county share based on the projected amount will be $2,850,063, and the county share is projected to increase by $110,948. I ask that you approve our implementation budget for fiscal year 23-24.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the implementation budget. Any questions regarding the motion? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. So moved.
Next up is our fiscal year 24-25 needs-based budget. Our needs-based budget request for fiscal year 24-25 is $15,349,931, with a county share of $3,574,455, which is an increase from fiscal year 23-24 implementation budget due to we're budgeting for more children to enter more costly placements due to a lack of foster home availability. We have providers requesting increases to increase their salaries to retain and attract more qualified staff. Our providers are also seeing continued increases in liability insurance, which they're now putting back on the county to cover. We are also seeing an increase in cases coming into the agency, more complex cases specifically related to the mental health system, who right now is very compounded. They have wait list shortages in their staff, so because they're unable to service those kids with mental health concerns, our cases are becoming even more complex, because not only are we dealing with children and youth needs of abuse and neglect, we're also having to deal with mental health needs. So we are having to provide more in-home services than we ever have before to overcome some of these areas. So we are budgeting more funds for in-home services because we know our referrals are increasing and we know that they're becoming more complex. So we want to make sure that the funds are there for that. And then we also are budgeting for the increases in wages to attract new staff and retain current staff within the agency, which was something that was part of union negotiations recently. I would ask that you approve our 24-25 needs-based budget.
Make a motion to approve the 24-25 needs-based budget.
Second.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment, I guess, here. As we approach our budget, county budget, these are big numbers and big components to the county's budget. Each year, I don't know that there's ever been a year they've gone down. Maybe they have, but I don't recall. It sounds like one of the biggest drivers is the reduction in foster parents, because they save a lot of money for the county because of their placements there, rather than spending hundreds of dollars a day. But just looking at these numbers, or pointing out these numbers, and again, as we go into budget here, we're very concerned about not only workforce costs that have been incurred as these contracts are approved, as additional salary is approved to compete in the workplace market, but this kind of expenditure is going to come to roost as well. And as soon as next year, this needs-based budget for 24-25 is 30% over the implementation budget for 23-24, which is over the 22. 30% is enormous, and that is county share. So there is nowhere to go for that other than the general fund. So it's not exactly a fair warning. It's just I'm going to keep pointing out these things as we get into budget. We're going to have a large deficit, and there isn't much can be done about this.
I was going to say, what's the alternative?
Well, to this expenditure, there isn't one. This is what society is bringing the agency, and what has to be dealt with, and it's not cheap.
And ultimately, if we don't budget for it, then we're not guaranteed these funds. So if we go into 24 without this money budgeted and we end up spending the amount of money that we had projected, there's no guarantee that the state is going to come back and amend to give their portion of our over expenditure. Whereas if we go in with this budget and we come under, then that's wonderful. But if we go in saying, well, we think it's going to be 15 million, but you approve 13 million, then there's that 2 million there that we could spend that could potentially fall in the county, and there's no real choice in the matter. I mean, if you're talking about child safety and needing these services and support, I mean, how do we determine what families we turn down or turn away? It's concerning.
So appreciate the opportunity. I just wanted to point out that these are the big numbers, and when we get to budget and, you know, talk about the deficit going into that process, and the numbers are eye-popping, you know, just pointing out where these come from, and these are services that a county must provide, just as it is for 911 that we you know has gotten some coverage recently, and the jail and all of these things and that are our responsibility, but costs are going up tremendously.
Thank you. I was wondering, would you be wanting to pitch the need, if somebody would like to be a foster parent, how they would do that?
Sure, if anyone's interested in becoming a foster parent, they just have to reach out to our agency and we'll provide them all of the details that they need. We are currently going through a training course right now, and we're starting another one later this month. So we really are vamping those up and having them occur more frequently so that we can get more people involved. We do have some advocacy groups. The Keystone Family Alliance is in our community right now, going to different community organizations and churches, kind of pitching for us to find foster parents for Lebanon County as well.
Would you like to give a phone number they could call, or what is your preference for contact?
Sure, they can contact the office at 717-228-4430, and the supervisor who is providing the training is Michelle Curry.
Thank you.
Do you have something? Okay. Anything else? Not all in favor of the motion to approve the needs-based budget, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. So moved.
Next, I will present the 23-24 service provider contracts. So the agency has a total of 35 service provider contracts. 18 of those are not requesting any increases. The remaining 17 service providers have requested increases with an average of 3%, and all of them are being in our budgeted amounts. I would ask that you approve our 23-24 service contracts.
Motion approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the service provider contracts 23-24. Any questions? If not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same signs. So ordered.
Next, I have fiscal year 23-24 placement provider contracts. The agency has a total of 52 provider contracts, with 16 not requesting any increases or their medical assistance funded facilities at no cost to the agency. The remaining 36 providers have requested increases with an average of 7%, and all of them are within the state approved rates. These increases are due to increasing wages to attract employees and an increased need for more specialized trauma-informed care within these placements and services. I would ask that you approve our 23-24 placement provider contracts.
Make a motion to approve the provider contracts as presented.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any questions regarding the placement provider contracts? Yes, Jamie.
A comment again on the numbers. You heard Erin say the average increase is 7% across these providers. Some of these costs, for example, a secure sexual offense per day placement is $522 a day. Enormous amounts of money that, you know, and again, these have to be done. I'm not criticizing the providing the service, just pointing out the realities of these costs. So average of 7%, I mean, we're talking about over inflation, you know, higher than inflation in that case. So you'll probably get tired of me saying these sorts of things till we get to budget, but just pointing them out.
No, and Jamie, you're absolutely right. The reality is that because we're having these more complex cases, those kids are requiring replacements that are more expensive, because those are the facilities that can meet their needs. So it is importantly, as some of our placements are between $400 and $600 a day.
Yep. Secure residential placement, $479. I mean, a lot of these start with four, with a 4, 3s, 5s, yeah.
Per day.
Per day.
And we're at the mercy of them, because if they won't take them, who will? We don't want to run into a situation where other counties have been in, where they're housing kiddos in offices for days or weeks at a time because they don't have a placement that will accept the child.
And there are, I don't know that we've had to resort to that here just yet, but there are counties that are doing that. They're literally, I know that Sue and Audrey are aware, but there are counties that are literally putting staff in the office 24/7 on a weekend because there's nowhere else to go. And, you know, basically providing a secure daycare, I guess you'd call it. And you've had many occasions on a Friday afternoon where you're trying to find someone and having to drive them to the other side of the state. So it's tough. It's tough
It's
right now.
tough. The whole environment at every level is brutal, right? You
The
know.
whole state of child welfare is sad right now. It's difficult for sure.
Okay, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
The last thing I have to present is a contract for juvenile probation. It's for Northampton Juvenile Justice Center. It is for their secure detention facility. It is $385 a day for fiscal year 23-24. Last year, it was $290 a day. I would ask that you approve this contract for the current fiscal year.
Motion approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve that Northampton contract. Any questions regarding the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That's all.
That's plenty.
That's plenty.
Well, thank you.